Hello, welcome back. This is exam questions on motives, entrepreneurial motives, and we will be looking at questions that relate to 8, 12, and 14 marks. How do you evaluate them? How do you look at them? How do you answer them? So we'll be looking at a typical question specifically on 12 marks questions. The others I'll just explain on how to go about them. Okay, so remember, in the previous video I did talk about this particular page. I talked about the things that you expect in section 1 and section 2. So I'm not going to be going too much about it. If you missed the previous video, please search YouTube and search the web portal to get my explanation on them. Okay, so but today I will still visit a question on section 1 and also a 12-mark question on section 2. All right, just to explain exactly what to expect or what the examiner is expecting of you for any question that is 8 marks. Remember the last video we did discuss 4 marks and 6 marks questions. So this video will be looking at 8 marks to 14 marks questions. So whenever you see a question, an 8-mark question, what exactly is expected of you? You're expected to do the KAAE, that is the knowledge, application, analysis, and now add evaluation to it. Okay, so there's a new variable added to it this time around. So you have the knowledge. You want to look at the knowledge relating to the subject matter. You want to apply to the case study basically that was given to you, and you also want to analyze them. Remember what I said about analysis? When you're analyzing, you use the BLT format because leading to therefore. With that in mind, you will definitely be able to look at the questions critically. Okay, so remember what knowledge is again. Knowledge means definition of the key word in the case study, and for an 8-mark question, you will be 2 points are usually allocated to that. Then application again, and it involves extracts where the keyword in the case study is. So 2 points are allocated to that as well. Then the third one, the analysis, 2 points. And finally, the fourth one, which is the evaluation, you're giving 2 points there. And bear in mind how to evaluate. Evaluation could come in different forms. But one thing that works for me is for you to see evaluation as an advantage or a disadvantage of whatever you are discussing. So since in this regards you have 2 points allocated to it, the best way to tackle it would be to talk about the one advantage and now kind of counter that advantage. For instance, you could say one good thing about ethical an entrepreneur using that decides to adopt or that decides to become an entrepreneur because of ethical instance or ethical stance is because of the fact that they value things. They want to do things their own way. They have some values that they want to cater. They don't want to dance to the tune of an employee or an employer, I beg your pardon. Then again, you now look at it from the other side, because you could now go, however, it is not completely true that this usually entrepreneurs that use ethical stance as a reason for being an enterprise, that they actually follow by the rules. They may even not do what they preach. Do you get it? So you would look at the advantage and disadvantage. You evaluate both of them. You say, okay, they're doing this, but however, in reality, what are they doing? So that's just an example. You can, work on your different points depending on what points you're looking at. So that's for 8 marks question. Let's move on. 12 marks question. What is expected of you? Again, the same KAAE. And this time around, it's just that different points are allocated to it. The same explanation. All right, you get 2 points for providing knowledge, you get 2 points for application. Then again, you have 2 points for analysis, which is the BLT. Then finally, the evaluation this time around, you have 6 fat points. So here's what I suggest to do: advantages and disadvantages. Remember, that gives you a clue on how to do your evaluation. Okay, so you talk about maybe 3 points, 3 advantage or 3 disadvantage of whatever points you're discussing. Or at times you can actually, especially towards the ending, you can bring up your opinion on how things how things, the way you are saying things, or the way you suggest the repercussion of things. We'll look at that in a typical example. Probably make more sense then. All right. So I have a question here. Let's see. Right. So this is section 2, question 14 marks. Okay. That's it. So basically 14 marks, what would they be looking at? Again, the same key points there. The knowledge. Knowledge again is 2 points. Application, 2 points. Then the analysis is now increased to 4 points. Okay, so I usually advise my students that whenever they see the marks allocated to a question, they should just write by the side of their paper. Okay, this is a 12 marks question. Therefore, K, for instance, in bracket, I have 2 points. K, A, another 2 points. Then the next A, 4 points. Then of course the evaluation, you have 6 points. So based on that, that will give you an idea of how many points to put down to get the full marks. You can remember your goal is to get an A star. That is what this is all about. So evaluation again involves advantages and disadvantages, and again towards the ending, maybe conclusion, we'll be looking at typical example. Now here's one example, a marking scheme that I brought out relating to 14 marks question. Right, yeah, 14 marks questions. Now, here is the kind of scores that you will get depending on what you put. Like the descriptor section, you can see under it, if you want to score 2 marks, if you want to be lazy to score 2 marks, then here's how you need to do to get your the slender 2 marks. You only need to provide knowledge. They say knowledge and understanding of maybe, for in this regards, I think it has to do with profit as a motivator. So basically, they want to see what sort of knowledge you have, general knowledge. Maybe you define it, and that's all you will get. The maximum point you will get in that regard will be 2 marks. Then when you apply, you can see that the application, I said, has extra 2 marks. So these are the kind of things that you're expected to do when you're applying. You must apply. Application must be present. The answer must be contextualized and applied to the company's. Well, I don't want to go into detail of the question, but you can see that it is applying to. You have to contextualize your answer. That's the application. Then the third, if you want to score between 5 to 8 points, analysis that comes in there. So analysis in context must be present. That is, the candidate must give reasons, cost, consequences of having profit as a source of motivation. But anyway, so you could see that this is what, again, when you use your BLT, you see that you are ticking all the boxes here. All right. So again, they graded this kind of high mark questions. They put them in different grade levels. For instance, students could get between 9 to 10 marks questions if their evaluation evaluation is present, and it is just on one side. So that means they did not state the advantage or disadvantage. Then you're limited to maximum of 10 points. So that is called a low level 4. Okay, you've done everything that you need to do, all the points you need to do to get your 2 points there, or 4 points there, the 8 points there. But for you to get 10 points, you need to be able to evaluate. Okay, so we are looking at the last point, the evaluation. So you are stating basically just one side. You're just one-sided. You're only talking about maybe the advantage or maybe the disadvantage alone. Okay, so you're limited to low level 4. So mid level 4. So in addition to what you have in low level 4, evaluation must be present and in context on both sides. So that means you are looking at the advantage or the disadvantage, both sides. You are arguing to and fro. However, must come into play. So that is when you get maximum of 12 marks, assuming you scored all these other ones here correct as well. So high level 4 is between 13 and 14 marks. So basically your evaluation is developed to show a candidate's real perspective. So you are kind of coming up, you are evaluating how did you see the matter? Do you know? What sort of conclusion? In the next video that I will be discussing, I will be showing you how to answer questions. I will give you typical examples on how to conclude, how to get this highest mark that is expected of you. So basically, evaluation is developed to show a candidate's real perspective. Several strands may be developed. The answer is clear, coherent, and articulate, leading to a convincing conclusion. So you are adding a bit of conclusion to it. However, this person did that. Because it did that, this is what, eventually would happen. You are concluding. You are inferring based on all the things that have happened so far, or all the points that you've been given. You are inferring, you are giving your own judgment. Okay, you can only give judgment if you really understand the basic concept around that topic area. So that's what they want to find out, how knowledgeable you are. So that is when you actually get the full scores. All right. So let's quickly look at a particular question. This is a 4-mark question, but I brought it out because it is a question that relates to motives. So let's quickly read it. It says Sharon Kelly runs Avalon Rescue, a Nottingham-based rehoming center for guinea pigs, as an unpaid volunteer. Unpaid, that should ring a bell. Unpaid volunteer. So Sharon is most likely to be motivated by which one of the following reasons? Remember, unpaid volunteer. So let's see. Adding value. How does that got to do with this? Not exactly. An ethical stance, or maximizing profit, a paternalistic leader. You could see that the answer here is obviously an ethical stance. Ethical stance. So you could see Sharon is it's volunteering. So obviously it's because she loves animals. That's why she's volunteering. She doesn't mind working. She loves guinea pigs. She doesn't mind working without being paid. So that must be something that has to be to do with, I believe, ethical instincts. Okay, that is why she can actually go for that. So the answer to this question is B. But how do you explain? Remember when you were explaining, and to get your remaining 3 marks, because you need to choose 2 options. It's either you should choose one of the options. It's either you choose to use the BLT to answer the question. That means you're going to be given reasons, why you think ethical instance is the correct answer. You give reason why ethical it's correct, and the application as well. How does it apply to what they're talking about? I beg your pardon. I used the word BLT. As a matter of fact, it's the KAA that makes more sense in this regards. So you could use the KAA, the knowledge about the subject matter, and the application. You look at how it's applied to the context that is provided there. Then of course analysis. You now look at the BLT there. But again, it's you don't have to write too much here, because this is just a 3 marks questions. If you can produce 3 major points, here you will get your full marks. Alternatively, if you don't know how to go about this, you could actually use the you could actually explain the alternative. That is the distractor. It's called the distractor. The things that they're not correct. For instance, why do you think adding value is not correct? That will give you a mark. Or why do you think maximizing profits is not correct? Or why do you think a paternalistic leader is not correct? So let's take a look at the answer in the market scheme. So the first thing you want to look at is to define the keyword. Okay, sorry, you choose your points, and that gives you your 1 mark there. That is B, an ethical stance. Then the next thing like we have up there now, it's they explain further. Explain further. The first point, it says motivation is the drive behind doing something. Okay, so you're defining the key word there. You know this topic is all about motivation. So you just define that motivation is the things, the driving key, the driving thing behind something that somebody is doing. Then an ethical stance implies that, you see, is applying it there. An ethical stance implies that Sharon is motivated by moral and social concerns. So you can see that making reference to the case study up there. Then in the case, the welfare of guinea pigs not pay is what motivates Sharon. Okay, in the case, the welfare of guinea pigs not pay is what motivates Sharon. So obviously, in this regards, you could see that the welfare of the guinea pigs that is actually Sharon's concern, not the pay at all. So that's one way to tackle the question. Then the alternative one, which is the distractors, will be for you to explain the ones that were not correct. For instance, they say A is wrong because adding value is not a motive at all, but rather a way of gaining competitive advantage. Now, we haven't looked at this topic yet because there's a topic that will come across that will be dealing with adding value, you know. So anyway, in your exams, it's assumed that you have finished all your topic, all your the course syllabus, so the course syllabus before sitting an exam. So it's assumed that you know that as well. So C is wrong because welfare of guinea pigs is more important to Sharon than income, because C obviously was talking about income. If Sharon was concerned about income, definitely wouldn't be working without being paid. Then of course you have D there. D is wrong because it is a leadership style, not entrepreneurial motives. Okay. And what had you see, this talked about paternalistic leader. That does not have anything to do with motive. You know, you just explained that it's a leadership style, not entrepreneurial motive. So with this, you will definitely get your full marks. All right. So let's quickly look at section 2. This question is a 12-mark question. Remember, 12-mark questions, when you see a question, the first thing you need to do is to write the things that I'm expecting from you. 12-mark question, KAAE, down. 2 marks goes to the first K. Another 2 marks goes to analysis and application. Then for this question, for 12 marks question, you now have three marks, 3 or 4 marks. I think I have it here. For 12, that's for 12 questions. Did I miss that now? And you now have 12 questions. You now have another 2 marks. Then the last question will now be 6 marks. Okay. So have that in mind. Just write it down in a piece of paper and make sure, by the side of your question paper, and just be taking the boxes while you're in your exam, while you're in the exam hall. Anyway, so I wouldn't want to go through reading all this this story here, because the main thing is just to guide you on how to fish the answers, you know, and what sort of points to put down here. But as you see, it is saying assess the likely importance of profit maximization to pre-run her. I beg your pardon. But here's what you do when you're giving a big case study like this. I suggest you look at the question first, so that you start looking out for where to underline, where you're gonna come back to, you know, because you can see this particular question did not refer you to a particular paragraph. There are some questions that will say, okay, you can get this answer in this particular paragraph or this line, but you can see that it's not giving you there. The question is just, you know, you just need to figure that out. So now, if you have this in mind, that it says assess the likely importance of profit maximization to piranha. So you start reading. Okay, start reading it and taking the boxes where you think um, there's any element of the case study talking about profit maximization. All right, so just to recall, 12 marks question, 2 points for K, 2 points for application, 2 points for analysis, and 6 points for evaluation. Okay, so that's the answer to the question over there. The, um, um, the question said, assess the likely importance of profit maximization. The 2 marks, it says profit is a total revenue minus total costs. Okay, so that's what exactly profit is. Yes, you want to look at it, it's basically the difference between your cost and your profit and the sales that you made, you know. So that is what profit is all about. So you want to see, since they use that keyword there, profit maximization, you want to define that. So that's your definition. So you could go, profit maximization is when a business wants to make the most profit possible from a given amount of resources. So you could either define it this way, to either the first one, which says profit is the total revenue minus total cost, or the one I explained in the video previously, is that a profit maximization is when a business wants to make the most profit, out of whatever business they're involved. You could also even throw in that is a short-term thing, whatever information that you know about. Then again, the application. Profit is important to Piranha because of the cost of R&D and their ethical policy. Like I said, I'm not reading because of time. I'm not reading that, but you have the case study, but just go and make sure you fish out the right answers yourself. So profit is important. So I'll take a look at the second one there. It's a Pariah Limited is a private limited company with shareholders who wants the maximum returns for their investments. Remember the analysis section. You are looking at BLT. And that will guide you. Pariah Limited needs profit maximization to continue. To continue the very high level of product development and innovation. You can see what's leading to. If they are doing that, what does it lead to? You can see how you could apply BLT there. Then the last, the 7 to 12 marks, what you need to do, they now put them in different level. Remember that part talks about the evaluation side. It's 7 to 8 marks. Evaluation must be present and in context on one side. So if you have just the advantage, for instance, you only get maximum of 8 points, assuming that you have scored everything right in the first instance. Then again, if you want to score 10 points, you need to look at it from both sides. Then finally, you also now need to evaluate. You need to conclude, your own opinion. So profit maximization, if you see the way an opinion is being aired there, it's a profit maximization may not be Graham's personal priority, but he has a responsibility to run the business profitability. So you have looked at the totality of the case study, and you are concluding, you're kind of summarizing, in relation to profit maximization. I hope this is clear. I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.